Gareth Southgate's 4-1-4-1 explained. Today, we're going to be going through the statistics, the tactics, and all the analysis. We're going to be diving into the overall shape and structure and how it moves from its deep defensive shape to its more offensive attacking shape. We're then going to dive into a little bit of set-piece chat and finish off talking about how England have solved the problem that Croatia gave them at the last World Cup. It's going to be a big video, guys. Subscribe if you are new and get into the comments below. Can England win the World Cup? Right. Let's dive into it straight away. England against Iran. They set up in a 4-2-3-1 in a defensive positions, but when they won the ball, the shape moved, and I really like what I saw. It was a little bit like Manchester City with their 3-8s, or Erik ten Hag's Ajax, and maybe Man United in the future. So England lined up in the 4-2-3-1. Kane led the line, Mason Mount at number 10, Sterling and Saka on the wings. From an attacking sense, when England won the ball, what we saw was Saka and Sterling holding the width. We saw Mason Mount moving to the inside left channel. And then we saw some really good forward movement from Jude Bellingham from deep in midfield to get in between the lines. What this created for England was this 4-1-4-1 shape. The back four, dealing with the ball progression and controlling the tempo. And then, of course, the five attackers breaking Iran down. And I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The rotation of positions I thought was very good through the game, but also tactically I thought England were absolutely spot on. When you look at the average positions on SofaScore, of course, check out that app in the description below. Not only has SofaScore got average positions, but now, guys, it's got expected goals and expected goals maps. I'm obviously pretty gassed about that, but more on that later on. So let's talk about England's shape. As you can see on screen, the defined back four of Trippier, Stones, Maguire and Shaw. Declan Rice anchoring midfield. I thought he did that really well as well. Then Bellingham higher on that kind of 8 line. Mount to the sort of left of that. Then a front three of Saka, Kane and Sterling. I quite like Sterling's movement in the game as well. I thought he moved with his teammates really well on that left-hand side. I think at times the connections between Shaw, Mount and Sterling was really good in the game, interchanging. At times we'd have Shaw wide, Sterling deep, Mount high, and other times we'd have Mount deep, Sterling high. But it was really good from England. The shape, the attacking structure was absolutely spot on. So let's start getting into the analysis for the England game. I think one of the big things England did well was this kind of structure and this shape. So this was a chance for Mason Mount in the opening 28 minutes of the match. And again, we can clearly see the defined structure, which is what I absolutely love. So England building with that kind of back four in a defensive sense. Declan Rice acting as a single pivot, which I love. We need Jude Bellingham really high up the pitch. That is where he's going to do the damage. But England moving the ball from left to right, pulling around one way, then switching the play through John Stones. As you can see, John Stones got a bit of space to play into, could carry out, but he utilises the ball well to Trippier high. At this point, we can kind of see England's attacking lineup. We've got the nominal left winger in Mason Mount. Sterling's in an inside position. Bellingham's making a forward motion. Saka's spinning in behind and Harry Kane holding the kind of attack. I think with England, we'll see a lot of ball progression from the fullbacks. I think we'll see, the likes of Trippier and Luke Shaw progressing the play quite a lot. So what I like about this move is the attacking structure and how it kind of moved forward. So obviously Trippier plays down the line. At this point, England have got a lot of bodies forward. They've got a lot of passing options. Iran's shape has drawn over. They're pressing the football from the wide areas from in to out. And Saka's got options, drops it off to Trippier. At this point, you can see England have got an underload in the penalty area, a 3-on-4 in the box. What I love about this is the third man running from Saka. Saka has become such a wonderful footballer under Mikel Arteta. He's basically the perfect sort of positional, possession-based winger. Holds the width really well, but moves off the ball supremely well as well. And we also saw with his goals, got that quality in front of the goal. What we see now, ball going back to Trippier and Saka moving on the blind side. As we saw in the average positions for England, let's just flip back to that for a second. You can see how Sterling's quite narrow from his position, starting on the left wing in the structure, but he moved all around the pitch. And I really like what Sterling was doing, goal and assist. Some things were frustrating with him, but there were moves that he was involved with that came really well. And from the average positions, we can see that he's taking quite a narrow position at times. That, of course, comes from the drifting, as we can see in the move that we're going through right now. So Saka's going to spin in behind in the blind side on the third man run. Again, a third man run is motion off the ball to receive a pass through a passing combination. Trippier inside to Sterling, Saka in behind the defence, and England are in behind. What I loved about England in this game was how they loaded the box with a minimum of 3 players in that central area. At times we saw, 5 players in the box, 6 players in the box, and that was very good for England. But the football and the quality of the football and the off-the-ball movement was absolutely sublime. We can see Mason Mount in this central position here. He's the one that makes the move onto that near post. Great running off the ball and just hitting his shot wide. But great football for England in this 4-1 shape that we kind of explained, a second ago. In this move, obviously, we've got Bellingham in a slightly deeper position, Sterling in that inside position, who, the combination play goes with through Sterling with Saka spinning in behind the defence, and of course Mount makes the move across. Really good football for England. But let's take a look at the Jude Bellingham goal. A fantastic header, but again, created from real good fluidity from England. This time what you actually see, instead of it being Shaw deep in the build-up and Sterling wide, it's actually Sterling deep in the build-up, Shaw wide, Mount high inside. Again, rotation is so important in football. Being unpredictable. Pep Linders, Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, they all talk about being unpredictable and having that rotation and these triangles doing the damage. So let's take a look at the goal that opened up the game for England, Jude Bellingham. Again, we can kind of see the clearly defined structure. We've got Maguire, Stones, then we've got, as we mentioned, Sterling in a deeper inside position. Trippier and Declan Rice. They kind of, from an old school footballing perspective, we got the 3 halfbacks and the 2 fullbacks. Football hasn't changed. It's just the same game, a bit faster these days. Sterling's taking that left back inverted role. Of course, we've got Shaw high, Mount inside. Again, perfect from England. I love the attacking structure. So, got to give credit to Harry Maguire. This forward pass breaks 2 lines from the Iranian shape. You see, goes through the attacking line, then goes through the midfield line and finds Mason Mount. And what I love about this move and this football, it's perfect. It's the, playing up, back through. Maguire plays up. It's dropped off, and then England are kind of thrown into a dangerous position. But let's take a look at Jude Bellingham and his movement off the ball. So I thought it was fantastic. Again, very much as that kind of box-to-box midfielder, that kind of high 8 role to get in between the lines. As soon as the ball goes wide, he's making that move into the penalty area in massive amounts of space. No one's picking up, no one's tracking him because he's in, he's starting from such a deep position. When looking at the overall structure and shape, actually, he's in between the lines. And he's in a position to make a move and get into the box. And we've seen his goal scoring improve over this season in the Bundesliga, 3 goals, in the Champions League, 4 goals, which is better than his previous seasons combined. But I think the impact of his ability to attack the ball, get on the ball, big lad, good energy, and a fantastic header. Again, we can see the space that he's got in the penalty area. It's simply so big. From outside the box, having that space to continue in, having an understanding and a good timing about his, attacking awareness, and a really, really good header. That's a fantastic header across the goalkeeper. Brilliant start from England, and all credit to the kind of the attacking shape. I think that's the first thing that we've got to really highlight and analyse here. That the shape was fantastic. That England were playing with clearly defined attacking structure, clearly defined defensive structure, and if England continue like that and they continue to evolve and rotate and change the positions, they are going to be the team to beat. I think one of the big things going into this game was the worry that Iran, sitting deep in their kind of 5-4-1, it's difficult to break down. But if you've got 5 attackers, 5 players to build, what more could you want? But let's move on to that, of course. Got to mention Harry Maguire, and that pass that broke the 2 lines to start everything off was simply sublime, and I thought he had a really good game. But the big thing is his threat from set pieces. We've seen it previously at previous World Cups, how good he is from corners. England target it well. United need to take a note out of the England book at, hitting Maguire on the second zone. Obviously, we had the penalty shout. That should have been a penalty if that other penalty is given to Iran. Don't understand why that wasn't VAR. Maguire also hit the bar from another late run as England had flooded the near post. But let's take a look at the Saka assist. It was very, very good from a set piece perspective from England. So England lining up, of course, attacking the Iranian zones. So England's 2 centre-backs in a sort of train at the edge of the box. The idea for a train is to create separation between the markers. So you basically have got 2 players. You could either split, one could sit, one could go deep, and then you attack the football to create separation between it. Because you think you'll find the second Iranian player is going to be picking up John Stones' move, and then Maguire's going to be sat on the other player, and then basically the idea is to isolate Maguire 1v1 because he usually will win that if he's not if he's not contested properly. So England flood the near post to open up space for Maguire to have space to attack the ball and have a 1v1 situation. We can see it. the play moves. Of course, the out-swinging corner from the left-hand side. We could see right now highlighted, Maguire is in a 1v1, and you'd expect him to win those. He obviously does gets up really, really well. And because of Maguire's threat, it pulls over another Iranian defender to try and go to challenge for the ball, which opens up a bit of space for Saka, and then the finish is sublime. Saka becoming the third youngest ever player to score for England, behind, of course, Jude Bellingham and Michael Owen at the World Cup. But brilliant finish from Saka, and I think that's one of the big things in this World Cup is England need to have players that can really threaten from set pieces. And obviously Harry Maguire won 3 out of 3 of his aerial duels in this game, 100% of his aerial duels won, hit the bar, got the assist. He's going to be a threat. And again, I thought he played really well today, and we have to not ignore the fact that Maguire played well in this game. I know that there's agendas online about his performance at a certain point, but he played well, and we have to open up and he was absolutely fantastic in the match, 100% of his duels. But a great sort of set piece routine, and a really, really good goal and a good start from England. 2 goals up, shape, set pieces. What more could I want? Well, what more could I want? I want England to be able to solve their goalkeeping problems. One of the things that England kind of struggled with in the last World Cup was teams pressing them high and then forcing them to play to Jordan Pickford and then being unable to escape. But I think a few things that England did really well in this game, as Jordan Pickford was in possession, we saw a number of things. Obviously, the build-up shape and structure was already, a lot better than we've previously seen. But I think another one of the interesting sides was how England kept their kind of depth with Bellingham and Rice at defensive midfield. They had the width with Saka and Sterling. And Kane, what I like about what Kane was doing was kind of, dropping off the line and getting to that number 10 area and allowing him to kind of, be in a position where he basically drops into 10. There's no real defensive midfielder in there, then he can basically pick the ball up easily and Pickford can just drop it to that area. It's a classic way to get out of the press. We see City and Liverpool do it all the time, and now England are doing it. I think there's massive benefit to that. So obviously this is the Sterling goal we're going to take a look at right now, but I think England did really well. You can see the pressure put on the ball from Iran. England obviously working it wide, creating that width, pulling the shape towards them. It's classic positional play, and then utilising the goalkeeper as a spare man. You can see Iran squeezing high, but there's an out ball. As we mentioned, Harry Kane off the line. We can see it in this is the perfect kind of diagram to showcase how well that England use this. You can see the Iran pressure is really, really good, but with Maguire dropping off into this free bit of space, you're basically creating a faux counter 4-on-4 situation. A fake counter-attack created by a long ball over the back, which basically creates this situation where England have got equal numbers on the Iranian backline. Really good kick from Jordan Pickford, something he's worked on. I think we've got to give him credit for that. And as you can see, as soon as he brings it down, the threat's there. Not only have England got the 4 attackers, but as you mentioned before, Jude Bellingham's box-to-box 8 role, he is going to join that attack and create a 5-on-4. I think Kane does supremely well to hold off the ball. Saka as well to turn. And we could see in this situation now that Iran are in a serious problem. At the moment, Jude Bellingham is about to spin off the Iranian defensive midfielder. Mount's going to join the attack, and England are basically going to create a serious problem for them. Really like the movement. The little 1-2, Saka got taken out, but Bellingham retains possession. He plays the ball down the side to Harry Kane, and you can see the amount of space that Sterling's got for a player that can, move off the ball as well as Sterling, too much space. I also like what Jude Bellingham does here, lovely sort of second assist pass and then gets into the penalty area, becomes a goal threat. This is the best way to use Jude Bellingham. I don't want to see him in defensive midfield. I don't want to see him in the ball in those areas. I want to see him moving high and using his athletic ability to get into the penalty area and finish things off. Of course, doesn't finish it off here. Sterling scores a near post. Great goal for England. And that wasn't the only situation where they used Jordan Pickford to mount an attack. This is the Marcus Rashford goal. Not hitting number 10 this time, but Harry Kane being a target on the opponent's backline. Pickford goes long. Kane brings the ball down, and Marcus Rashford does the rest. Spins into the open space. I love the move inside as well onto that left foot. That is absolutely brilliant. There's something that Rashford's been criticised for is not having a left foot, and this just showed his composure, his ability to come inside and the finish with the left foot. Go past the goalkeeper, absolutely sensational. But a great result for England. I think that's the big thing. 6-3 opening game. It's exactly what you want. You're looking at the players that we mentioned already. Jude Bellingham, absolutely outstanding. 113 touches of the football. 97% of his passes completed. 7 out of his 8 long balls completed. Scored a goal. Won 6 out of his 8 duels. 100% of his 3 tackles and interception. Brilliant. But looking around the pitch, I think there was a load of players that played to a really high level. You know, we've already mentioned Saka, man of the match, 2 goals, or the BBC's man of the match, 2 goals. Great performance in there, you know, in terms of his ability to hold the width and stretch the opposition. But you could look at Sterling, his goal and assist. Look at Mason Mount, even though he didn't really get involved in the sort of the chances. Thought he played positionally really, really well. Harry Kane grabbed himself 2 assists. Maybe he needs to get a few more shots away, but at the same time, you know, we've just seen him basically escape the Iranian press through Harry Kane. Declan Rice intercepted and cleaned very well. It was a really good team performance. Luke Shaw, another goal involvement since the start of the Euros, the last tournament England were in. Luke Shaw's got the most goal involvements of any England player. You know, that's a big credit to him. Maguire played well. Like, England as a whole were good, but I have to reiterate what Gareth Southgate said in the post-game kind of analysis. You know, you've got a really important side right now. You don't want to get too overhyped. They've scored 6 goals, but they conceded 2. And Southgate was really unhappy with conceding the 2 goals. That, for me, keeps the team grounded. That is the right mentality from Gareth Southgate to say, we can be better. Defensively, you know, Taremi, 2 really good, you know, a penalty and another really good goal. England need to be better than that defensively because they get opened up by better teams in those situations. I think the counter-pressing needs to improve as well. I think there's still a little bit more that England can do. I thought a lot of the good counter-pressing moments actually came from Jude Bellingham reading the play, not an overall structural pressing system. I thought there was a little bit too much space between that attacking unit and that defensive unit at moments. But a great England performance. You know, going on to, you know, great way to start the World Cup, and you know, the 4-1-4-1 shape looks really, really good. So I'm happy with what I've seen from England so far. Guys, get into the comments below what you made of England's opening game, but also the tactical side of it as well. Did you enjoy the shape? And did you enjoy this analysis? And we'll be back very, very soon. Next England game, more analysis. See you guys later.